Last season, everything stopped.
The men's and women's tournaments have been canceled.
Then, everything changed.
Being black shouldn't determine if I live or die.
And along the way, college basketball found itself. From protest,
no justice, no peace,
to podium.
You guys gathered today to tell your fellow student athletes that I'm here for you and with you.
This is powerful, guys.
To practice, the unity of a community emerged.
Let's go, 1, 2, 3, go.
Forged forward by the power of this game.
The best thing we can do is just come together.
And together, we might just change the world.
This is their return. A new beginning. Heed the call. United, we ball.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to college basketball, and welcome inside historic Cameron Indoor Stadium. Moments away from the Duke Blue Devils versus the Coppin State Eagles, alongside former Duke great Will Avery. I am Ryan Craig, and Will, so much has changed in this 2020 year, unlike any other, but one thing has remained a constant. It is the recruiting for the Duke Blue Devils and Coach K. The number 2 class comes to campus, arriving this fall. Here's a look at those half a dozen student athletes.
Yeah, great group of freshmen coming in, headlined by Jalen Johnson. He should be exciting to watch. I'm also looking forward to see the guards, Roach and Stewart. They're a little bit different than what we've had and what we've seen here in the past few years. So, good group, and I'm excited to watch them.
On the other side, DeJuan Clayton, 2-time All-MEAC already, preseason first-team All-MEAC this year, honing in on the top 10, in fact, in the top 10 in terms of the program records. Just a tremendous player who's going to have a big-time afternoon for the Eagles.
Yeah, he's going to have a big one to keep Coppin in the game today. He's used to performing well against big-time opponents. He scored 30 in 2019 against South Carolina, and I'm sure he's going to be excited, to play today. But it's going to be a good matchup between him and Goldwire.
He's got 17 games with 20 or more points. You talk about that matchup. Goldwire, one of the best perimeter defenders in the country, really. Here you see him out of the gate handling the ball for the Blue Devils. First possession of 2020. Both of these teams had planned on playing a game by this point. In fact, 2 for Coppin State. Get more into the COVID-related issues for both programs. Not necessarily within the programs, but affecting both teams, as you see the starting 5 there for the Blue Devils. Goldwire out there with Baker, Matthew Hurt, Wendell Moore Jr., and Jalen Johnson. On the other side is the Tark brothers, along with Clayton Thomas and Sarvon. And an early lead for Coppin State. Nothing in the early going. Such a different atmosphere, of course, than these Blue Devils are used to playing in here in Cameron. Nice fadeaway there for Johnson. Baseline jumper goes.
Tough shot for Jalen Johnson.
Johnson, of course, known for his athleticism, but already showing a nice shooting touch there. On the offensive glass, it's Sarvon, the redshirt freshman out of the Netherlands, with the finish. Good start for the Eagles thus far.
Not a real true big in this lineup for Duke. They're going to have to do a much better job of keeping Coppin State off the glass. It's going to have to be a collective effort.
Hurt shot almost 40% from 3 last year. Misses on that one. There you see Coach K up off the bench in year number 41 at Duke. Well over 1,000 wins here at this institution. And, of course, for his career, the 5 national titles. The consistency, not only the excellence, but the consistent excellence. Just absolutely remarkable for Coach Mike Krzyzewski. Obviously, your coach while you were here.
Yeah, what an amazing job he's done. And he seems like he's continuously getting better, which is scary.
Clayton hits the first free throw. And a solid start for Coppin State. A 4-point lead here on the road. Mentioned that Clayton was all over the all-time record books for Coppin State as he hits the second. Comes in 12th all-time in points, 7th in assists, 7th in free throws, and he cans a pair here to give his team a 5-point lead. Moore gets the screen from Hurt, looking to go to the basket. Euro step off the rim. And there's Clayton snagging the rebound.
Thought Moore could have shot that one on the right side.
Tark thought about the three. Instead, toward the rim, Johnson with the big-time rejection. And then comes down with the rebound and leads the break. Jalen Johnson showing the entirety of his game here in the early going. Baker thought about the step back. Johnson down low to Moore. Nice look there for Jalen Johnson.
Good find by Johnson. That's one of the things he does really good is pass the ball.
Wendell Moore, second team preseason All-ACC this year. Another three, and that one goes. The Eagles shooting it well out of the gate. 47% of their shots last year were threes, and in their wins, they hit 34% of those. Hit only 25%, and the losses is Hurt.
Great find, great finish.
Makes it a 4-point game with the two-headed flush. Substitutions for the Blue Devils getting ready to check in. Stewart, Roach, and Mark Williams sitting in front of the scorer's table, lined with the plexiglass this year. Kyle Cardacy, the first sub looking to check in for Coppin State. Goldwire, catch and shoot three. Baker finishes with the lefty layup, and the Blue Devils are back within two.
Good finish by Baker. I thought Matt Hurt probably should have made that extra one to Goldwire.
Well, here is Clayton. Here's that matchup you talked about, Will. About 4 minutes into this one. Anthony Tark against Matthew Hurt. Hurt stands him up in the paint. Tark falls away, perhaps trying to draw the foul. Coach Juan Dixon thought there should have been a whistle there. Instead, the Blue Devils come the other way. Hurt is fouled on the interior. Looked like DeJuan Clayton will be whistled for the foul. Coppin State an early 2-point lead here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Clayton doing damage already. Back here in Cameron Indoor Stadium, 10-8 lead for the Eagles. Coach Juan Dixon has to love what he's seeing from his squad so far. And there you see the resume of Juan Dixon. One item left off there, perhaps most importantly, former roommate of our own Will Avery.
Yeah,
for your college days.
Yeah, Nike camp going into my senior year. Before they had all the rooms ready, Juan and I ended up being roommates for about 6 hours.
Of course, after that, now Coach Dixon went on to have a phenomenal career at Maryland, and at that time, that Duke-Maryland rivalry was every bit really the equal of any other rivalry in the country. Of course, everybody knows Duke-Carolina's the Eagles pull back ahead by 4, but Duke and Maryland at that point was as vicious and nasty and competitive as any rivalry there's been.
Great games, especially one that sticks out is the 2001 semifinals game.
Of course, the huge comeback for the Blue Devils in that one, history-making comeback. And then Maryland turns around and wins it the next year. Here's Clayton and Goldwire, 15 on the shot clock. Clayton pulls the string on that one, comes up short. And the first look at DJ Stewart. Coach Nate James saying that Stewart just a guy that is so fun to be around, works hard, does everything the staff asks of him. The look up top.
Great pass.
Williams with that 7'5" wingspan, a lot to live up to with that last name in this building. Sister's jersey hanging in the rafters, but a powerful flush. We're tied at 12.
I think Mark Williams can be really effective during the course of the year out of that dunker spot.
Blue Devils in transition. Roach looking down low to Hurt, who is fouled. Anthony Tark, the transfer from UTEP, is whistled for the infraction. The look up top from Goldwire to Williams. Those two already finding the chemistry. Now Johnson looking to take Tark off the dribble. Kicks it out to Roach. Swarmed by a couple of Eagle defenders. Now Wendell Moore. 5 seconds on the shot clock, and it was perhaps caught between two decisions there for Moore. Ian Johnson going to figure it out after the fact. The ball ended up in the Eagles bench, and so Coppin State will have it tied at 12. Will, how would you assess the start here for Coppin State? The Eagles obviously coming in on paper as a huge underdog, but very competitive beginning to this game.
Well, I expected Juan Dixon to have them ready to go out of the gate. You know, most of the time teams take on the personality of their coach. We all know he was a great competitor. And so I expected Coppin to come out right away fighting. Yeah.
Certainly no back down in the Eagles here. Moore. Stewart. Off balance. Loose ball picked up by the Eagles. Here is Clayton now. Knocks for three. That one goes begging. And then Johnson the rebound. You see his ability to take it on his own. Falling
Great
away
drive.
off glass.
Great drive.
Will, Jalen Johnson at this point has showcased all of his talents. He's hit the fall-away jumper. He's shown the ability to handle the ball. Had the rejection at the rim. Closing out on that three-point attempt, even though it eventually pours in.
But Jalen Johnson is going to be tough once he gets that ball off the glass like that and pushes it in transition, get to the basket. He does a really good job of finding guys.
Stewart does well there to recover after the bad pass. Makes up for his mistake. Floats that one toward Williams. Kicks it out Johnson. And Johnson hits the three.
He's showing us everything early.
Absolutely. It's only taken about 8 minutes for Jalen Johnson to showcase everything that he could bring to the floor. That said, the Eagles tied at 17, 12 even to play here in the first in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Eight minutes into the 2020-2021 basketball season for both of these teams and a delayed start to the season. Here's the timeline dating all the way back to March. Ivy League, of course, the first to call it off. They actually have canceled this season as well. But every other tournament not far behind. March 12th, really the day that sports kind of in general stop.
Yeah.
Professional and college level. And there you can see 32 total tournaments canceled. That includes tournaments that were due to be played at the beginning of this season. There you see all the scheduling changes, no exhibitions or scrimmages, and then these teams, again, were supposed to play a game before today. They each had games on the schedule. Coppin State had to step away from their 2 games because of positive tests, Tier 1 personnel within their program. Blue Devils were supposed to play Gardner-Webb a couple days ago, but that did not materialize because of a COVID positive test within the Gardner-Webb program. So both teams will figuring everything out on the fly here this afternoon.
Yeah, it'll be a very, very unique season. And I think that's where the guys like Coach K's, the veteran guys, will be able to do a better job, I think, of preparing their team and handling the uncertainty.
Yeah, I would think in a year like this, you can't rely on anything else around you. You have to be as adaptable and flexible as it is humanly possible to be. And it would seem in that sense, then you've got to be able to fall back on your culture, the fundamentals of your program, the philosophy of your program, more than maybe you ever would have in other seasons. 17 all as Wendell Moore kicks it over to Henry Coleman III. And now Goldwire. Nice look for Baker, corner 3.
Great find by Goldwire.
Blue Devils off to a 1-for-5 start from 3. Coppin State 3 for 9 thus far. Here's Johnson again on the move, looking down low. That one is swiped away by Tark, and it'll go to the Eagles. So a good look down low for Johnson. Moore couldn't finish inside as Matthew Hurt comes back on. Tark, two-time All-Atlantic Sun while at NJIT before transferring to UTEP and then on to Coppin State. Over a pair of defenders, Kobe Thomas, preseason first-team All-MEAC. Couldn't get that one to go. Hurt thought about another 3. Goes to the spin move. Fall-away jumper off glass is no good.
Again, I still like that extra pass. Here they come. Go ahead, make that extra pass. You have Baker open for a shot.
Moore into the paint, and is called for the charge. Isaiah Gross missed last season with an injury. Maryland Mr. Basketball after winning the state title the 2018-19 season back this year and already making a difference on the defensive end. Look at Wendell Moore on the socially distanced bench for the Blue Devils. Dwayne Jones Jr. Gross draws the charge on one end, tries the 3 on the other. Halfway through this first half, tied at 17. Hurt kicks it out. Stewart, who made sure he was in bounds, lets loose with the 3. Johnson inside, using the big body. A nice, powerful finish for the freshman.
I like the ball moving on that possession for Duke.
Johnson already with 9 points. Blue Devils with a 2-point lead.
Jalen Johnson came to play today, huh?
Johnson, preseason first team, All-ACC. Coach Nate James saying he will be leaned on heavily this year. 9 points, hasn't missed a shot, 6 rebounds already, a steal and a block in just 9 minutes for Johnson. I believe it's the first lead for the Blue Devils here at 19-17. Showed just a moment ago, a returning offense for the Blue Devils. They're going to need a lot from Jalen Johnson. No more Vernon Carey, no Trey Jones, no Cassius Stanley, Alex O'Connell. A lot of lost personnel from a year ago. And a lot of times you have the preseason, you have your exhibition games, you have a number of non-conference games, try to figure all these things out. Well, a lot of that has disappeared this year.
Yes, very different. One of the things I do like about this atmosphere is that you can hear your bench, you know, where you couldn't with all the Cameron crazy. So especially for the young guys, that can be very helpful.
Turned over that time, and the lefty finish by Clayton. I think no crowds in the stands, or at least limited crowds. That is going to be a huge equalizer, Will, this year in college basketball, particularly younger kids. As Stewart hits the 3 on the pros, maybe it's not as big of an effect. But at the college level, where momentum plays such a big part of the sort of emotional, right, the emotional element of all of this, not having fans in the stands is going to make a difference.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
22-19 Blue Devils.
Another great find by Goldwire. He's doing a really good job of penetrating, getting in the lane, and finding shooters.
Hurt defending against Clayton. The outlet to Goldwire. Quick three for him. Rebounded by Menenda Tark, the brother of Anthony Tark, both out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. Menenda making his collegiate debut, two-time All-Metro in high school. Also played a prep season with Dwayne Jones Jr., now his teammate at Coppin State, so some familiarity there.
Very experienced and older Coppin State squad. A lot of transfers, JUCO players, European.
To your point on Goldwire a moment ago, 3 assists already with no turnovers. 7:57 to play here in the first half. Blue Devils by 3. Back to Durham, we'll have a women's college basketball triple header for you tomorrow afternoon right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app at noon Eastern. Duke hosts Western Carolina right here in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Then an in-state rivalry game between Georgia and Georgia Tech. Cap the afternoon with number 22 Notre Dame. New head coach Niall Ivey taking on Miami of Ohio at Purcell Pavilion in South Bend. Muffet McGraw, of course, stepping away after a remarkable career at Notre Dame. Coach Ivey sliding into the head coach's chair. How about that finish for Anthony Tark out of the timeout? Coppin State has come to play here in Cameron Indoor.
Good set out of timeout. He got what he wanted right at the basket. They couldn't finish, but he also played and scored it.
Wendell Moore hits the 3. It's an improved part of his game.
Yes, and I think Wendell is a good shooter. I think this year he needs to be a more confident shooter.
Shot it at about a 21% clip a year ago, but has been closer to about 40% in practice as Goldwire hounding Tark. Kicks it all the way across. Nice look to Clayton. Misses on the 3.
I thought
foul was called.
And I thought Moore turned down a lot of shots last year. As you can see, he only had 19 attempts last year, the entire season.
Eagles quick to the loose ball, the flush. Tark 5 points in the early going, along with 4 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and a block, filling up the stat sheet for Coach Juan Dixon. Couldn't get that one to fall. Keenan Sarvan.
Sarvan's been aggressive this first half.
Speaking of aggressive, Jeremy Roach inside. Roach connects for his first two collegiate points. How about that? Pulling the trigger from deep, the lefty. The green light in a big way from Coach Dixon. That light may turn a little yellow, though, if he keeps taking shots like that and missing from that range.
He's definitely been instructed to let it go. Yeah.
It's interesting, too. You talked about communication a little bit earlier, right? No fans in the stands, maybe a little bit easier for you to hear your coaching staff out on the floor. That said, the benches are much farther apart this year. So you see Coach K a second ago, I was just sort of looking down from our table here. He has to walk around to try to get the message across to everybody. You can't just sort of lean over in one direction and talk to the whole team at one time.
Yeah, it's very different.
Nearly a turnover there. Aggressive defense for the Eagles. Roach, 5 seconds now on the shot clock. You can see Hurt take a quick look all the way down the floor at the opposite shot clock before hitting that jumper. 29-21, Blue Devils, first time they've had a bit of breathing room. You can see the shooting percentage has crept up, and the defense has started to clamp down. Johnson, his second block already.
He's doing it on both ends.
I'll say one of the nice things about not having the crowd is the space for the players to land after their drives. Normally Probably photographers, videographers. That would have been a major collision down there by the baseline.
Look for Duke to pick up the tempo with this lineup here. You see the three guards, Goldwire, Roach, and Stewart.
Tark had to take that shot, late shot clock. Fall away three, no good. Blue Devils looking for their first double-digit lead of the afternoon. Hurt, three, top of the key, and he drills it. First three of the season for Matthew Hurt. Coach Nate James alluding to the fact that Matthew Hurt now showed signs of it certainly last year, but really is starting to become that mismatch four that Duke has so long been known for. Kind of plugs in nicely into that role this season for the Blue Devils. Duke was in some ways a little bit ahead of the curve on that stretch four concept that you see so often now.
I look for Hurt to be much more aggressive, like you said, taking advantage of mismatch situations and attacking the basket much more.
Roach draws the assignment on Clayton now. DeJuan Clayton just 1 for 6 from the field. Goldwire's done a nice job on him. Now Stewart on the switch.
The guards from Duke have accepted the challenge, in keeping Clayton out of the lane.
See what Baker was trying to do there and come over and double and got a little unlucky in that player turned right into him at the last second. 6th team foul for the Blue Devils. 2 each for Moore, Baker, and Goldwire with less than 5 to play in the first half. Anthony Tark with 2. Coppin State only 3 team fouls in total. And the 3-ball that had worked early for the Eagles has not been there lately. Now just 3 for 15
Great
on the game.
And 5.
Stewart drills that one from the corner. The tide has turned from the three-point line in a dramatic way. A cold start for Duke, now 5 of 11. Coppin State hit 3 early, and now just 3 for 15. 13-0 run for the Blue Devils. It may continue here. Stewart out in transition. Baker steps into that 3. Johnson kept it alive momentarily. Fought for by Gross. And it looks like he might have been fouled. 3:56 to play.
I thought that was a
now
travel,
14.
right?
Will Avery wants to travel. Perhaps a late start to the season for both Duke and Coppin State, but a quick start to the career of Jalen Johnson, already a point and a rebound away from a double-double, Will, in the first half of his collegiate debut.
I like what he's doing. We saw the 1-foot fadeaway early. We saw the drive and transition, strong going left in the finish, using the size and athleticism on the offensive glass with the putback and the blocks on the other end. But I also like the ball pressure. He got the steal earlier and lost his foot and wasn't able to gather it. But, he's really playing hard on both ends, and he's been as good as advertised so far.
There is rebound number 10 already for Johnson in this one. Roach turns the corner, sees a couple of defenders there. Hurt goes to the spin move in the paint and one. Matthew Hurt, a guy that has it all in terms of the offensive arsenal. Able to take people off the dribble, can hit the 3 as well. Looking for the traditional 3-point play. Strong on the attempt. Rebounded by Tark, and away go the Eagles. Clayton finish through traffic and contact. Coach Dixon looking for the foul call. Three freshmen on the floor for the Blue Devils now. Stewart, Roach, and Johnson. Hurt couldn't work his way through Sarvan. Just 2 on the shot clock. That shot did not hit the rim. Hurt gets it off. And they'll immediately take a look.
What do you think?
It's a good look here. Woo! Fingertips maybe still. 1 on the clock right there. Great look, by the way, from our crew as always.
Yeah, still on his fingertips.
I don't think that's going to count.
No.
And maybe just a split second where Duke maybe thought that the clock had reset. Wasn't a huge amount of urgency there, and then Hurt was forced to throw that one up. I don't think it's going to count. No basket. There you see the plexiglass that's been erected by the facilities and operations staff.
I was wondering how long it was going to take Coach Dixon to go back with Sarvan. You know, he's especially with Clayton not been able to get going so far.
You see all the protocols here with the socially distanced benches and the plexiglass in front of the scorer's table. Just an amazing amount of work has gone in to providing the opportunities for these teams to compete here at Duke, at Coppin State, who's done everything that Duke has asked of them in terms of testing protocol to be able to come in here and play this game. And you're just seeing that nationwide, the extra effort that administrators are putting in and coaches are putting in to create schedules and then recreate schedules. Nothing at all is set in stone this year. Everybody's having to make all these changes. Just incredible that we're even getting to this point as Coach Dixon. I think it's something about being in this building. It's got him fired up. Clayton, good on the free throw.
You know, for scorers, sometimes just seeing that ball go through the basket, you see Clay knock down those 2 free throws, that could get you going. We'll see how he finishes the half.
Blue Devils by a dozen, 37-25. Nice look inside.
Fine.
There's a double-double for Jalen Johnson off the beautiful assist from DJ Stewart. And with that bucket, Johnson joins Marvin Bagley, only Duke freshman in the last 10 years with a double-double on opening day in their opening game. Bagley had 25 and 10 against Elon. Corner 3 has not fallen. Coppin State has gotten some good looks. They just can't get him to fall, and that's going to have to change if they're going to stay within shouting distance of this game.
Yeah, and those same shots were going down early for them, so I can understand why they continue to take them.
Great hustle play there by Tark. On the steal, kept it in play. Hurt gets his fingertips on it. 2-on-1 for the Blue Devils.
Thought we were going to get the lob there.
Hurt went to the Euro step. Clayton anticipated the direction that he was going to go as we look back at this beautiful feed, freshman to freshman. Nice play by Clayton here, not giving up on the play. Stewart called for the foul. Coppin State in the bonus. Clayton back to the free throw line once again. You can see why he's 7th in the all-time list at Coppin State in free throws taken.
As he's got to the line 6 times already.
Yeah, excuse me, free throws made. Now 349 made free throws in the career of DeJuan Clayton. 6 of his 10 points have come at the charity stripe. Johnson has that one stripped away by Thomas, who fouled him. And so Johnson will shoot his first 2 free throws. Blue Devils have actually only shot 1 free throw the entire game. Eagles have shot 7. 90 seconds to play here in the first half.
Wonder if we'll see a little pressure from Duke after this free throw. A minute 30 left in the half. See if they can go on a run and go into the half with some momentum.
Some pressure for the Blue Devils. Johnson guarding Tark on the perimeter. Now the switch and the switch back. Roach somehow gathers that one. Just a little bit scattered all the way around there. Clayton, quick hit ahead to Sarvan. I know you like what he has done. He draws the foul there. As Hurt is called for his second. You like what Sarvan has brought to the table here for Coach Juan Dixon so far?
Yeah, it's been real aggressive. I see he was a 22 points per game scorer at the high school level. Came out firing right away.
Jamin Brakefield comes on for the Blue Devils. Sharif Knox, transfer from St. Joseph's, in for Coppin State. Johnson climbing the ladder.
Big time finish.
15 and 11 in the first half for Jalen Johnson. Just floating above the rim there. Brakefield. Roach for 3. This time it's Stewart's turn. Didn't quite have the altitude, but the finish there nonetheless. Back-to-back offensive putbacks for Duke. Half a dozen offensive rebounds now for the Blue Devils and a 17-point lead with under 15 to play. Clayton matched up with Roach. Goldwire's had to sit quite a bit here in the first half with the 2 fouls. 2 freshmen have done well to keep Clayton under control. Stewart may have gotten a piece of that one. Brakefield showing verticality. And the tip at the buzzer, no good. 45-28 as we head to halftime here in Durham. The story, Jalen Johnson, 15 points, 11 rebounds. Vicious 2 there.
This is the origin story of 2 buildings and 263,000 square feet, now known as the Hollows. This story starts in 1964, when Duke bought land from Irwin Mills, a hosiery manufacturer, and built Central Campus apartments. These were 1, 2, and 3 bedroom spaces with their own kitchens and bathrooms, built to accommodate graduate students and, in some cases, their families too. And for a decade, that's what they did. In the 1980s, more undergraduates started living on Central, which also became a home for many student social groups. But 4 decades later, Central buildings were beyond their lifespan. So Duke made plans for new housing.
The project started about 2.5 years ago in terms of construction, but talks started probably about a year before then. My name is Joe Gonzalez, and I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs and Dean for Housing and Residence Life. Myself and my team are in charge of all the residential communities here at Duke.
The 6-story Hollows is now the largest residential community on campus, and it's set up differently than its West Campus counterparts.
One of the decisions that had to be made is what style should we use for this building? Ultimately, the suite style was selected because while we didn't want the double-leaded corridor, we also didn't want a full apartment. And we felt like the suite style brought a new living option to West that we needed.
But the new suite style design doesn't mean the architects left out welcoming common areas.
With suite style buildings, one of the sacrifices that is often made is that you don't really have a lot of shared space beyond the suites themselves. And we didn't want that to be the case here. Each of the common rooms, they're all just a little bit unique. The patio area outside of Hollows A that connects to the main room on the first floor of Building A, we hope to see a lot of synergy between that outdoor and indoor space.
Bringing these spaces to life was no small feat. More than 600,000 bricks, 13,000 yards of poured concrete, 1,200 tons of rebar, 1,200 doors and 800 windows. And it took a month to move in more than
But I also encourage them to make it a community because that really rests on their shoulders. We're certainly going to do things to try to facilitate that, but when it comes down to it, students usually have the community that they desire, and I'm hopeful that the students will make the Hollows Quad community a very special one, and that they also take care of it.
We've been told for decades that stress is really bad for us. It's bad for our health, for our well-being, and even for our work performance. And there's a good reason to believe this is true. There's a lot of scientific evidence suggesting that stress can be bad. But some more recent research is suggesting that we haven't had a full picture of actually how stress works and how we can manage it more effectively. It's first important just to note that stress is a very adaptive thing that our body does. It's something that we evolved in order to be ready for action. When you feel your heart pounding and your palms sweating and your breathing rate going up, that's actually your body's way of helping you to survive in that moment, preparing you to fight for your life or run away from something dangerous, right? And one of the things that we've learned from recent research is that people who believe that stress isn't necessarily bad, but in fact something that can help them, seem to be better off. In many ways, this belief that stress can actually be helpful seems to protect you against the potentially negative effects of stress. So for example, in some research that I've done, we taught students the night before a first midterm exam that their feelings of anxiety about the test could actually help them. And we found that giving students that simple message actually led them to do better on their exam the next day and in the course as a whole. Our research is also teaching us that not all stress is the same. We encounter some stressful things in our lives that we can control. So for example, if I'm experiencing stress about a big test, I can control that. I can do things to study and to be more prepared. But we also experience stress that comes from things that we cannot control. So if I've already taken a big test, for example, and I have to wait a week to get my results, I may be feeling stressed about how I did, but I can't do anything about that stress. I can't take action. So is stress bad for you? I think the answer is it doesn't have to be. We just need to be smarter about the ways that we think about our stress, understanding when we can use our stress to mobilize ourselves to action, and when, on the other hand, we need to use our stress as a signal that it's time to reach out and ask for some help.
Moments away from the start of the second half here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. The profile Dewan Clayton off the top. And while he's been able to get to the free throw line for Coppin State, Will Avery Duke's perimeter defense has, for the most part, kept him quiet other than when he's been able to get the charity strike.
Yeah, they've done a good job on him. They let him get to his left twice, and he was able to finish. They continue the defensive job they're doing. They just got to do it without fouling.
Speaking of defense, speaking of defense, Jalen Johnson showing what he can do on that end of the floor. And then, of course, offensively, already a double-double with 15 and 11 at intermission.
Great start to his young career. I expect him to be even more assertive in the second half.
Here you can see Johnson has not missed a shot, has hit a three, a couple of fadeaway jumpers. Really just a dynamic and diverse offensive game. And as he takes a seat in front of Coach Mike Krzyzewski, Will, your thoughts on adjustments that you'd like to see maybe for each team going into half number 2 here?
Well, I think for Coppin State, they got to do a better job of taking away Duke's easy baskets. The putbacks in there, the wide open threes. They have to do a better job of that. And for them to do it, they're going to have to be able to stop Duke's guards from penetrating. And for Duke, I think they've been solid. Keep them out of the paint, limit their second chances at the basket, and get the ball and really push it. I think Duke is the more conditioned team right now. They seem like they're in better shape than Coppin State.
Eagles just 3 for 19 from 3. That would solve a lot of their problems if they could start to hit some shots from downtown. They've had some pretty good looks. A few of them have been rushed, a few of them late shot clock opportunities, but there have been others that were good looks and they just didn't fall.
Yeah.
Tark and Clayton having a discussion here.
These first 3 minutes are going to be really important for Coppin State. See the adjustment with Stewart starting in the place of Joey Baker.
I know you like what you saw from Stewart in that first half coming off the bench. Perhaps earning a start here in the second half.
Yes, I thought it gave them a boost off the bench and was part of the reason they were able to stretch the lead.
4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 3 from behind the three-point line for Stewart. 10 points to go along with 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Even blocked the shot. Another 3 off the mark, and Johnson comes down with rebound number 12. Kicks it in the corner. Sarvan closes out on Moore. And Johnson stepped on the sideline.
Tough spot there. Want to reverse the ball and see what else you can get on the other side.
Goldwire back out to start the second half for the Blue Devils. Saddled with 2 fouls in the first half. Nobody in extreme foul trouble, though 4 different Blue Devils with a pair. Moore, Baker, Goldwire, and Hurt. Only Anthony Tark with more than 1 foul for the Eagles. There's a 3. Kobe Thomas.
Clayton able to get into the lane, break down the defense, and find Thomas for the 3.
Second assist of the afternoon for Clayton. And then Tark has to duck his head down to avoid hitting the backboard. And it'll be a timeout for the Blue Devils.
Definitely. I felt the timeout coming. A couple bad possessions there to start.
45-33, but a quick start for the Eagles here in half number 2. Coppin State cold heading into halftime. One of their last 12 from the field, one of their last 16 from 3, but a 5-0 run. Kobe Thomas drills the 3, then it's Anthony Tark. Turning defense to offense, a 5-0 run for the Eagles. Prompts a quick timeout for Coach K and the Blue Devils, and we'll see how the Blue Devils respond coming out of that timeout. Instead, it's Coppin State who forces another turnover. It's Clayton this time on the defensive end. Johnson nearly pins that one to the backboard to prevent the easy layup.
The worst thing you want to do is turn it over coming out of the timeout.
Especially right in front of your own bench. How about that play by Johnson, though? Again, That prevented the easy two. But the Eagles, Coach Juan Dixon, a fantastic response. A shoe on the floor. Sarvan now playing with one shoe on. Comes out and sets the screen on Johnson and rolls to the basket. Clayton step back three. All of a sudden, the Eagles have found their range. Back to within 9.
Clayton seems to have it really going now. He's getting his stuff, he's able to break down the defense and find others.
Sarvan trying to defend Hurt, who takes the 3. Moore kept it alive temporarily, but out and running are the Eagles once again. The block is called on Hurt. Thomas will shoot 2. 3 fouls on Matthew Hurt, and Coppin State can close to within 7.
Ryan, Coppin State are getting all the 50-50 balls, and they're really pushing it and getting out in transition.
Confident looking shot there from Clayton. And now Thomas, who hit the 3 earlier, top 10 in points and rebounds in the conference last year. Not selected all conference. How about that snub for the now senior out of Philadelphia, PA. Career high 28 points against Morgan State in late February. Was the rookie of the year in the NEC when he was at Robert Morris.
Duke needs a good possession here.
Goldwire to initiate that possession. Nice look down low.
Fine.
Stewart with the finish. Just with the doctor order there for the Blue Devils. Clayton quickly the other way. Thomas was kind of behind the backboard, lost the angle there. Now Stewart again. Hurt in between two Eagles, gets it over to Johnson, who lays it in.
It's great effort by Hurt. Keeping it alive and coming up with it and finding Johnson. Great effort.
Clayton trying to draw the foul on Goldwire. Tark. Step back was there for a moment. 10 on the shot clock now for Clayton. Coppin State really has not gotten into anything on this possession. And then Tark from the corner.
They won't go away, will they?
The great equalizer, the three-point shot, bringing the Eagles back in this one. The look is to Johnson. Moore didn't put enough mustard on that one. 2-on-1 the other way. Tark. Stewart flying by, and then the flush. Dixon takes a timeout. Coppin State back within 8 with just about 16 and a half to play.
What a finish. It looks to me that Coppin State now is the one pushing the tempo and playing faster.
No, you can see, too, the Eagles getting that confidence back. You saw Clayton shake his hand after the three. There you see Tark celebrating, rightfully so, after that punishing dunk. And if there was any thought of Coppin State going away here in the second half, that has certainly not been the case.
No, not at all. They're playing with a lot of confidence. Clayton is really starting to get it going for himself and others.
And you know Clayton is that guy for Coppin State. Came out, you said he was starting to get into what he wanted. Team started to find itself. Who's that going to be for the Blue Devils? Right, that's the question now. So many new parts for Duke, obviously. Trey Jones moving on to the NBA. Probably normally would have been that guy a season ago to help settle things down. We'll see if Goldwire, is it Johnson, who can be the steadying force out here for the Blue Devils. Still lead by 8. It was Goldwire a moment ago. Stewart nearly doing enough to keep that one alive, but eventually it's turned over. It was Goldwire to Stewart.
Yeah.
The two of them and Johnson a moment ago on the possession that got the easy bucket.
Goldwire has to settle down and take control of this team and get them in the offense, get quality possessions.
The Blue Devils doubling in the backcourt on Clayton, trying to prevent him from getting the ball, but he'll initiate nonetheless. Nice job by Goldwire there to get the deflection. Wendell Moore in the open court.
Let's see if this gets the Blue Devils going.
And Goldwire won't get credit for those points.
He definitely made that play, with the deflection.
Pokes that one away. That's back-to-back turnovers forced by Jordan Goldwire. Now he's in the corner. Johnson finds him. And Sarvan comes away with the rebound. Goldwire is a guy who can absolutely affect a game on the defensive end. Tark, both Tarks, Anthony in particular, having an effect on this one. As he'll go to the free throw line. 15:45 to play. Got ourselves a ball game here at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Eagles trail by 10. Will Avery, I know you like the experience that Coppin State was bringing to this season opener. It's been their three senior starters, Anthony Tark, Kobe Thomas, DeJuan Clayton, that have brought them back. A 13-6 run coming out of halftime. Back to within 10 with Tark heading to the free throw line.
Yeah, these older guys, they're going to go out fighting. And another thing for Coppin State, this is their Super Bowl. This is the game on their schedule that they have circled. A lot of these guys, these seniors, it's their only time, in Cameron. They're gonna go out fighting. They're not gonna quit.
First meeting between these two programs. Coach Juan Dixon looking to restore Coppin State's program. Been to 4 NCAA tournaments. Last one was in 2008. During their 90-97 appearance, became the third 15 seed at the time to win a game over a 2 seed. That was against South Carolina. The program also has a couple of NIT appearances. Stewart continuing to leave his mark in his collegiate debut. That one goes down for 3.
Shot it well today. I still like to see Duke make that extra pass quicker. It stayed in Johnson's hand a little bit long right there, but he was able to make a good play and get an open look.
Coach James in our conversation said Stewart has the ability to be a big-time scorer here at Duke. He has 15 here this afternoon. Another nice look from Johnson as well.
Yes.
Jalen Johnson, 17 points, 14 rebounds, a couple of assists, and 3 blocks as he takes a seat. He'll find his spot in the bench area. 54-42. Fall away for Tark goes down.
It's a big time shot.
Coppin State already as many threes in this half as they had in the first half in its entirety. Baker and Stewart tries to climb the ladder.
Too many turnovers, Ryan.
Up near 20 now for the Blue Devils. Still with a 10-point lead. Tark doing some of the ball handling. Rocks himself into that 3, and he is absolutely feeling it now. Back to within 7 are the Eagles.
He's put this team on his back the second half.
Blocks that shot. Moore able to get it back for Duke. Stewart fought about the 3, gets into the paint. The floater there is good. He's got some Swiss Army knife to his game, showing the floater, ability to penetrate, and the 3. Now Clayton. Stewart on the rebound. Blue Devils have numbers. Baker steps into a three-pointer. No good. It's a good job by Tark to keep that ball out of the hands of Matthew Hurt. Sarvan. No good on the three. Early shot clock three. Coppin State, again, nearly half their shots a year ago came from behind the three-point line. There you see the damage the Eagles have done since halftime from behind the arc, shooting over 50% on 7 attempts.
I thought those last 2 possessions were bad for Coppin. They should have got the ball to Tark. He's the guy that has it going for them. Let's see what they do this time down.
Clayton goes by Baker and then grabs his calf. I wonder if that's just a cramp for Clayton. Gives the thumbs up. Officials stop play immediately as Brakefield and Johnson check in for the Blue Devils. Beautiful lefty finish here for Clayton.
A tough cover for Joey Baker with Clayton in transition. He's got to do a better job of making him a jump shooter in that situation.
(56-49). Big time test for the Blue Devils in their season opener. Stewart! The reverse!
Does a really good job of moving with the ball. Great finish there, too. A great find by Jeremy Roach.
Johnson trying to get a hand in the passing lane. Instead, Tark against 3 different Blue Devils kicks it out. This is just entertainment here.
Coppin has to go to Tark every time. If he's not creating for himself, he's done a great job of creating for others.
Kobe Thomas with the 3. Roach. That one bounced off the rim and it'll belong to Coppin State. Roach thought he was fouled on the penetration. This is a 2-possession game.
It is, and a lot of that, is because of Tark's play in the second half on both ends of the floor.
Big time athleticism there for Stewart. Then the open look. Thomas has had a couple of bombs here in the second half. 58-52. Eagles trailing by half a dozen. There is Tark. It's a nice job there by Johnson to make him think about taking that shot with 11:44 to go. Coppin State. There you see what Anthony Tark has done on the afternoon, 15-6, and really doing it in every way, Will.
Yeah, even competing on the defensive end, but making plays for himself, others. Big time finish to give his team some energy to get them back in it.
He and Clayton both with 15. Thomas now 11 points on 3 of 4 from 3. Here is Stewart. He's got 19, leading the Blue Devils in that category. Goldwire misses on the 3. A nice offensive rebound for Brakefield. Draws the whistle. Freshman Jamin Brakefield. Jim Rat for the Blue Devils coming up with a clutch offensive rebound. He's a guy that Coach James said he knows his responsibilities, understands the game, and was in the right spot there to grab the offensive rebound. He'll shoot a couple. These are only the 4th and 5th free throws that Duke has taken in this game, compared to 13 for the Eagles. Coppin State getting to the basket a bit more, perhaps. 7 points, the margin. Duke making it hard for Clayton to get the ball. Brakefield switches onto Clayton and blocks the shot. Saw Clayton try to use that left hand. Another loose ball gathered in by Coppin State. Roach steps in though, and then Tark fouls him before he could get away either a pass or a shot.
Like on the other end, Dixon wants to get a screen on Goldwire and let Clayton play against whoever switches and see what they can get.
Clayton limited himself there a bit by using the left hand. Right in reach. As Roach drills the first free throw. Jeremy Roach, two-time USA basketball gold medalist at the U16 and U17 levels. Teammates with Wendell Moore. Missing the second. Coppin State able to get it down. There's a foul. Roach too tight on Clayton that time.
The experience of Clayton got that foul.
So Nenda Tark, the younger Tark brother, on the inbounds. Coppin State gets the switch they wanted. Breakfield on Clayton. Sarvan, long three. Johnson the rebound, his 15th. In transition, Breakfield tries the three. Roach gets Thomas in the air and then draws the foul. Jeremy Roach right back to the line where he was one of two a moment ago.
This lineup that Duke has in, they should be able to switch all the ball screens and keep these guys in front of them.
While Roach is lining up for his second free throw, chance to remind you tonight, 11 Eastern, the huddled quartet of Jordan Cornett, Eric McLean, EJ Manuel, and Mark Rick will be back with complete breakdowns of all the ACC games today. Huddle right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. That's later. This is now. And the Eagles trailing by just 8 with about 10 minutes to go here in the second half. Breakfield forced to guard Clayton on the perimeter. Another open look for Sarvan, who's now 1 for 7 from the three-point line. Swatted away by Thomas, and it'll go to Coppin State. Wendell Moore, Matthew Hurt check in, Breakfield and Stewart come off. (60-52). Clayton and Goldwire. Good defense there from Goldwire, although he's called for the foul as Clayton was fading away and forced him into a tough shot. And you're starting to see you called it, Will, the experience of Clayton knowing how to draw fouls. That's a legitimate skill set in this game.
Yeah, yes, it is. You know, he's taking advantage of the defender's aggressiveness and getting to their body.
Clayton a perfect 7 for 7 now from the free throw line.
Duke needs a good possession here. Move the ball a few times. Let it go from side to side. And make Coppin have to defend.
Back down to a 2-possession game. Goldwire looking for Wendell Moore. Instead, it's Tark. And Johnson is there to clean things up.
Great block.
Fourth block of the game for Johnson. Goldwire looking for Johnson down low. And those two couldn't connect.
It's got to be 2 points.
Nearly 2 points for Tark, if not for the well-timed block of Jalen Johnson. But Coppin State with possession. Tark nearly caught his brother off guard with that pass. See Coach Juan Dixon calling things out. And they'll say, I believe Roach will be called for the foul. It is Roach.
I think that's too much, though, for Tark to back down from the three-point line.
There's another look at that foul. Kick ball, do it again. 8:55 to play, 60-54 in the first meeting between these two teams. Coppin State has Towson next as part of a 4-game road trip to start the year. Stewart continuing to make plays, and he's fouled. 15 foul on the Eagles, so still not in the bonus for Duke. Roach got to the free throw line a few times here in the last couple of minutes, watched by Nenda Tark. Johnson puts the ball on the deck and gets fouled by one of the Tark brothers. It'll be Nenda called for the foul. And the next foul will have Duke in the bonus. Stewart steps into a jump shot. Roach able to keep it alive for the Blue Devils. Moore leans in from the elbow and connects on the jumper.
Shot by Moore.
A bit more breathing room now for Duke. Roach with the assignment on Clayton. Now Johnson switches on to him. We'll see if DeJuan Clayton tries to attack that matchup. He does and draws the foul.
He has a knack for drawing those fouls. You can't let him go left.
He's got that hesitation, kind of that stop-start to his game. So hard to guard without fouling. Just a reminder, you can get the latest news and information from the ACC each morning with special guests from the world of sports. Packer and Durham Wednesdays, Wednesdays, but also all of the other weekdays, 7 a.m. Eastern on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Clayton good on the second. And once again, a 6-point game. Roach. Moore decides against the three. A nice look down low for Hurt, who is fouled by Tark. 7:44 to play. Blue Devils shooting free. Back in Durham, Matthew Hurt about to toe the free throw line. Will, we know there is no part of the Duke program right now that's looking ahead, but we are afforded that luxury. And how about Michigan State coming in on Tuesday? The Blue Devils, Illinois on the horizon. Really tough early part of the schedule here for Duke.
Yeah, I mean, just watching this game as the first game, obviously they have some things to clean up, and they will do that, and they'll get better with Michigan State coming in on Tuesday. But that's what this year is going to be. Normally you get 2 exhibitions, to get the rotations down and just to get your feet wet, get out here and play with your teammates and stuff. And you don't have that this year, so it's going to be different. So the beginning of the season for everybody will be tough, especially when you're playing a lot of young guys.
Third turnover of the game for Clayton. Hasn't made too many mistakes, but that was one. Hurt hits the three. Matthew Hurt hits his second three of the game. He's into double figures now with 12. And then calling out the screen on defense. Clayton gets to his left.
It's a matchup I think they really like.
Good look at a corner three that time for Cardacci. Instead, Johnson now. Roach, equally good look from the wing, and he hits it. 6-point turnaround there.
Big shot.
Coppin State misses a three. Duke hits. And just like that, it's a 12-point lead for the Blue Devils.
Coppin better be careful here.
Clayton once again able to get to his left. The bounce pass for Tark. The layup was there. The pass just missing the target, and now Hurt is called for his 4th foul. So Matthew Hurt has 4. Moore, Goldwire, and Roach with 3 apiece. Back-to-back threes for Duke and have helped extend the margin.
When Coppin State needs a play, who do they go to? Anthony Tark. And he gets to the line.
We'll see what Coach K elects to do with Matthew Hurt. He picks up his 4th foul with 6:30 to play. And there's the answer. Jordan Goldwire checks in for him. Nenda Tark, the only Eagle with 4 fouls. His brother Anthony has 3. Counting down towards 6 to play. Wendell Moore guarded by Tark with those 4. Thomas comes down with the rebound. Quickly ahead, Clayton. He'll pull for 3.
They won't go away, will they?
Back down to 8 once again. That is perfectly put, Will. They are not going anywhere. Goldwire to Stewart, who's been good for the Blue Devils. Nobody boxing out Stewart, and Moore finishes inside. Missed opportunity there for the Eagles. After forcing the miss, nobody put a body on DJ Stewart, and the freshman took full advantage. Clayton with 22. Sarvan continues to shoot threes. Hasn't found the range much today. Tark has, but misses that time. Sarvan now 1 of 9 from the 3-point line.
And made one since he banked the first one.
Roach slows the pace just a touch. Now it's Moore. Off balance, Johnson, one-handed, able to finish that one inside. Just a casual putback layup for Jalen Johnson.
What a game he's having.
19 and 18 to go along with 4 assists and 4 blocks. Tark can't finish inside. Sarvan with the rebound, and he is fouled. And Tark can't believe he wasn't able to flush that one. Impressive stuff from Jalen Johnson. Now Wendell Moore becomes the second Blue Devil with 4 fouls. Sarvan hits the first free throw. Duke with some definite foul trouble here to contend with. 2 of their veteran players, Hurt and Moore. They've leaned heavily on Johnson and Stewart to this point.
Duke needs to be patient here, get a good look. Don't rush anything.
Jalen Johnson still has not missed a shot. 8 of 8 in the game. Good look for Stewart. He gets baseline and lays it in. Stewart and Johnson have combined for 40 points in this game on 17 of 23 from the field.
It's a good possession. Took the clock down to 8 and got a layup.
Clayton. Moore out running. Goldwire ahead of the pack and lays it in. Tark into the lane. Missed on the initial attempt, but got his own rebound. And Coach Juan Dixon will take time out as Coppin State is back within a dozen, 76-64. All Cameron all weekend here in Durham. Today the men, tomorrow women's college basketball triple header right here on the ACC Network and the ESPN app at noon. Duke hosts Western Carolina. And an in-state rivalry game between Georgia and Georgia Tech. We cap the afternoon. Number 22 Notre Dame and new head coach Niall Ivey taking on Miami of Ohio at Purcell Pavilion in South Bend. Jeremy Roach and the Blue Devils looking to run a little clock here. Try to close this game out. Up 12, just over 3 to play. Johnson is closing in on a 2020 debut, gives it up here. And Tark makes no mistake this time.
There's Anthony Tark again. When they need a play, he's there.
Seen Coppin State force timeouts several times. Force turnovers out of timeouts several times, including that play there for Anthony Tark, who's up to 20 points and 9 rebounds. Blue Devils have turned it over 22 times compared to just 7 for Coppin State. Eagles 28 points off those 22 turnovers. It's really allowed them to stay in this game, and are they ever in it? Another 3, the 10th of the game for the Eagles, 7 of those after halftime, and it's back to within 7. 2:16 to play. 22 for Clayton, 20 for Anthony Tark. His brother Nenda with 6 points of his own, including a couple of threes. There's one of them from the corner on the assist from his brother.
How many plays have Anthony Tark made when it seems like Duke is going to run away with this ball game to keep Coppin State in it?
Combination, of Tark and Clayton right there. 42 points and shooting percentage not where Clayton would want it, but obviously he's hit everything from the free throw line, and he's very much the engine of the offense. 5 steals for Anthony Tark in this game. He has as many as Duke has as a team, 5 to 5.
Big possession here for the Blue Devils.
More to inbound. It'll be in the hands of Roach. Moore bothered by Anthony Tark. Gets a screen from Johnson. Stewart wide open for 3, and he hits it.
Big time shot. Big time shot.
Stewart has been tremendous for the Blue Devils. 24 points. Clayton again going with that left hand from the right side of the basket. Second time it's caused him problems. Moore down low. And just that quickly, the Blue Devils restoring some order here with 95 seconds to play. Tark, nice move down low. Beautiful finish. Coach Juan Dixon wanted timeout. Just over a minute to play. It looks as though the Blue Devils will win their season opener. It'll be their 21st straight. But it certainly wasn't easy, Will.
No, it wasn't. Coppin fought. Made big plays down the stretch. This team in the MEAC is going to be something to reckon with.
Tark lost the handle. And Stewart crosses midcourt. A couple of possessions away from the end here in Cameron Indoor. And 266 days since the Blue Devils last played and won. They will move to 1-0 on the season. Coppin State will fall to 0-1. Stewart misses the 3. The Blue Devils will recover and then welcome in Michigan State. Huge early season test between two traditional basketball powers. Well done by the Coppin State Eagles and Coach Juan Dixon. In the end, a 10-point loss, though, to the Blue Devils. Will, your final thoughts for both teams?
Well, I thought the freshmen Stewart and Jalen played really well, but obviously can't turn the ball over 20+ times and win many games with this in ACC play, and especially against teams like Michigan State and Illinois. On Coppin State side, they played hard. Anthony Tark and Clayton made plays when they needed them. Kept them in the game.
22 apiece for Clayton and Anthony Tark. Blue Devils were led by Stewart with 24. How about the collegiate debut for Jalen Johnson? 19 points, 19 rebounds. For Will Avery and our entire production crew, I'm Ryan Craig. To watch this game on replay, go to watchespn.com. This has been a presentation of ESPN.